Yeah, Pete that, bro. They trying to they trying to make it seem like that man losing his mind, bro. Miami old head coach,
Oh, for the Dolphins.
huh?
No, you talk about the old coach for the Dolphins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I've been
Man
seeing that.
said he paying. They motherfucker trying to pay me off to lose and everything. And y'all ain't giving fair shots with the head coaching job as far as with the black coaches.
Right. Call it
Hmm.
for what it is, though, bruh. I mean, then you a head coach in a predominantly all white industry, and you think they're gonna give you a fair shot?
I mean, that's how it's supposed to go, right?
That's how it's supposed to go. But remember, my team, my way.
I'm glad you said that. Now, me, hold up, let me get back to.
What is the opportunity?
Sorry
What
about that.
isn't happening that should happen in your mind? What would you like to see come as a result of this suit that you have filed?
I would like to see the hearts and minds, and
Go
I
ahead,
say
make
that
that play.
I want the hearts and minds of the people making those decisions to change in a way where there's more.
If you can, chap, I don't know if you can, but if you could, can turn
I
it
want to
up a
say what's
little
the word
bit
I'm looking for.
and
They're,
start
they're,
it
they're,
over.
they they want to or have a feeling to hire someone of color, that they can relate to that person, that they can build a relationship with that person. Because I think that's a little bit of the issue. Um, the familiarity is to open up a little bit more, and um, there's an opportunity for that.
Play it one more time for me, homie.
What is the opportunity? What isn't happening that should happen in your mind? What would you like to see
I'm
come
not getting no
as a
audio. I'm gonna have
result
to
of
leave the
this
group
suit
and
that you
come
have
back
filed?
in.
I would like to see the hearts and minds, and I say that I want the hearts and minds decisions to change in a way where there's more. Uh, I want to say what's the word I'm looking for. They're they want to or have a feeling to hire someone of color, that they can relate to that person, that they can build a relationship with that person. Because I think that's a little bit of the issue. Um, the familiarity isn't there. And I think we need to open up a little bit more, and um, there's an opportunity for that.
hmm Man, Brian, what's going on, bro? What they said like that? Now now the one with the that one right there, hit that one. Yeah. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see this shit. Look at this. They quick, chap. I told you them boys quick and start hiring coaches and shit. Look, dumbass commercial, y'all. Excuse my language.
Twists.
People don't change. Only their lies do.
Promised
Yeah,
Land
what's the
on
sound on
ABC
that?
and stream on Hulu.
Right around 6 o'clock Eastern last night, as we were going off the air from PFTPM, here came a statement from the New York Giants after a couple of days of silence
Yeah, I
slash
can hear good
perfunctory,
too.
predictable commentary. A lengthy statement from the Giants, which says, among other things, the allegation that the Giants' decision had been made to hire Brian Daboll prior to Friday evening, January 28, is false. And to base that allegation on a text exchange with Bill Belichick, in which he ultimately states that he thinks Brian Daboll would get the job is irresponsible. The text exchange occurred the day before Coach Daboll's in-person interview even took place. Giants ownership would never hire a head coach based on only a 20-minute Zoom interview, which is all that Mr. Daboll had at that point. In addition, Mr. Belichick does not speak for and has no affiliation with the Giants. Mr. Belichick's text exchange provides no insight into what actually transpired during our head coaching search. That's just some of what the Giants had.
Of course you did. You've been knowing that motherfucker. You didn't have to talk to him in 20 minutes.
False. I think this is part of what has been a concerted and probably coordinated effort, Peter, to push back aggressively in the court of public opinion, to not let the Brian Flores lawsuit and his extended media tour. I think he was on every network and cable news channel in one day. He had to have been wiped out on Wednesday night. He was everywhere. And I think that contributed to the effort into Wednesday night and Thursday to push back. But the battle has been joined publicly, and it is a sign that when it's time to take the gloves off in court and work this case, it's going to be contentious, it's going to be nasty, and it's going to be ugly, Peter.
You know, obviously, Brian Flores' response, I'm sure, to all this was, I was with Bill Belichick for whatever it was, 14 years, and I grew to trust Bill Belichick. We became competitors. I still trusted Bill Belichick. And when he tells me, based on his knowledge, his sources in the league, that Brian Daboll is the coach of the New York Giants, I believe Bill Belichick. And it isn't, I think it comes down absolutely to that. And then obviously what Belichick said came true. So that is what he is going to decide. Now, as for what the Giants said, it was very clear from the start that they were going to do many interviews and, you know, for their GM and their coach job. And they were at the end of that interview process going to decide who they were going to name. My gut feeling, and it's only a gut feeling, is that the Giants entered into all of their interview requests in good faith. And look, John Mara and Steve Tisch, I'm sure, had feelings that they wanted their general manager to get his guy, but they also were going to go through this process. And because Brian Daboll went first, you know, isn't it theoretically possible that Brian Daboll could have done such a good job in the interview that Joe Schoen privately told friends, Daboll killed it in the interview? I really think he's going to be our guy. We'll see, but I think he's going to be our guy. And again, we don't know what happened, Mike. We just don't know. We have a set of text messages from Bill Belichick. We have the New York Giants pushing back on this strongly, as you knew that they would. And I just think now we're going to need to dig very deep into this story. You made this point on Wednesday, and the more I thought about it, the more you're absolutely correct. There's a good chance that we're never going to find out the absolute truth about what happened in any of these cases, because the NFL will want to do this as they have written in every coach's contract, that any disputes are handled through the arbitration process. And in the arbitration process, when, you know, the arbitrator, the ultimate authority is Roger Goodell, you're never going to have these things see the light of day. So the victory for Brian Flores, the partial victory at least, will be if these are heard in a court of law. And none of these teams are going to want to hear this in a court of, are going to want to have this aired out in a court of law, I don't think. But that is going to be the key thing. Are we going to be able to get Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll, John Mara, Steve Tisch, Bill Belichick, Brian Flores on a stand in a public courtroom? Then and only then, in my opinion, are we going to be able to decide with any finality who's right and who's wrong in this case.
And before that, each of those individuals would be grilled in a deposition where you're in a conference room, you're videotaped, you're asked a bunch of questions. And trust me, we're on to Cincinnati is not going to get you past the question you don't want to answer. That, in and of itself, I tell you what, I don't know how big of a check I would write. I would write a pretty big check to be in the room when Bill Belichick is questioned under oath in a deposition where it's a lot looser. You don't have to worry about how the jury's going to react to the question. You can be hostile. You can be aggressive. You can bounce around with different styles.
You
You
know,
can
ask that
try out
nigga what
different
do you
theories
want?
and
2
see
sugars in his
if
coffee
it
or
works
just
on the
one?
witness. And Bill Belichick's habit of just not wanting to talk about things, so repeating, we're on to Cincinnati, or it's already been addressed. If you say it's already been addressed in a setting like that, you're going to get the question again. And you're going to get it again, and you're going to get it again. And what ultimately happens is they pull out a phone,
Y'all
one of
cover
those
it up.
fancy
That's what
conference
ultimately
phones, and they
happens.
punch
Y'all
in the
cover it
judge's
up
phone
because y'all
number. They
know
get
what
his
they gonna do.
receptionist, connects to the judge, and the lawyer says to the judge, we need
Just
an
keep denying
emergency
it, Bill.
ruling here
Just keep
because Mr.
denying it. Don't
Belichick
worry
won't
about
answer
it,
the
Bill.
damn
Just keep
question.
denying it,
So
Bill.
again, I'd write a big check to
It's
be in
gonna
the room
come
for that. Now,
again
Peter,
and again
here's part
and
of the
again.
problem. And we've all heard
Face
about the
said,
Miranda warnings. Anything you say can and will be used against you. That's true in all litigation. Any
look.
statements made by the parties to the case
Listen to his goof
can
ass.
and will be used against them. That's why, look, if the NFL is smart, and I think on this point, they're smart enough to realize they should get a transcript of everything and have a video ready of everything
Damn.
Brian Flores said
You
in
hear him,
every
man?
interview that he did, because all of that can be used as evidence. If he ever says anything that contradicts anything he said
Y'all can hear me?
on CBS,
Yeah.
NBC, MSNBC, CNN, every possible network, anything that can be characterized as any type of inconsistency can be used against him. So I say that because I'm looking at this Giants statement,
Because they got to get
and
their
I'm
shit
always
together.
looking for first day of law school.
Mm-hmm.
One of the professors said the most important thing I can give you is a
What
crap
do you say?
filter, because there's a lot of crap out there. You need to learn how to filter it. Consider this potential chunk that would get caught in the crap filter. Sorry, enjoy your
This
breakfast.
is crap, though. Look,
Here's the
he's calling black plight crap.
Giants
You hear him,
ownership
Macha?
would never hire a head coach based only on a 20-minute Zoom interview. Well,
You got to filter the crap.
they weren't hiring Brian Daboll based on a 20-minute Zoom interview. If they already decided that Daboll was their guy, it was because they'd already decided Joe Schoen is their guy, and Schoen has worked with Daboll. Schoen brings more to the table than a 20-minute Zoom interview with Brian Daboll. When Schoen gets the job, and Peter, we know how this works.
So what does
GM
that
shows
mean?
up, first
So
day
what
of
part y'all
work
missing
as
in
a
what the man
GM.
is saying?
The job to which
Y'all are
the GM
cahoots.
has been aspiring his
Buddy,
entire
buddy, y'all
professional
all know
career.
each other, and
And
that's who
in
getting the
addition to
fucking
scouting
jobs.
players, he's been scouting coaches.
I'm missing something?
He's got a list that he's got always ready. Here are the coaches that I will hire. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's my list. If I'm Brian Flores' lawyer, I want to know what Joe Schoen's list was when he walked through the doors. Brian Daboll, your number one guy, because I got a feeling he was. So to try to create this notion, well, we would never hire someone based on a 20-minute interview. No, but you hired a GM that already planned to hire Brian Daboll. That's how it works. That's how Bill Belichick knew, because Schoen was ready to hire Brian Daboll the minute he got the job. I think that's the theory, the factual theory that Brian Flores' lawyers will explore aggressively, and Flores will point them in that direction.
Yeah.
You were assuming something that you're jumping to a conclusion that I don't necessarily agree with. You say
Of
that
course.
Schoen was going to hire Daboll all along, or that was his guy all along. It's one thing to think that a guy is going to be your head coach all along. And if I ever get a shot, absolutely unequivocally, I'm going to hire this guy.
Allegations,
But I
how old
believe
Rusty?
that Wellington Mara, John Mara and Steve Tisch, Giants ownership basically said, listen, if you get this job, we're going through a coaching search, and you obviously are going to have a huge say in it. And most likely, who knows what was said? I don't know what was said, but John Mara clearly had to say to him that the final decision is either going to be yours or your voice will weigh heaviest, whatever it is, because the Giants
come
have
on,
gotten it
man.
so wrong with their last 3 coach hires. So I agree that could easily be the way he was leaning. And I would agree that if you just look at a blank slate, who would you rather have as head coach? A guy coming off a stormy tenure in Miami, who had had
Oh,
four
a stormy
offensive
year with
coordinators
y'all.
and four
The man
quarterback
saying he
coaches
rigged,
in 3
giving
years,
$100,000
and
away.
a
Oh, my
reported
genius.
stormy relationship or whatever relationship with Tua Tagovailoa, his quarterback, or would you rather have the guy who helped develop Josh Allen? I mean, it's not very much of a
Oh.
contest, but I
See what I'm
I
saying?
think Peter,
Totally
Peter,
neglecting what the
I
man said,
strenuously
bro. The
object.
man
It's
said he
all in
got
your
paid off the
characterization.
tank the
Would you rather
year.
have a guy
Chuck,
who's
he
never
got
been a
paid
head
off
coach
the tank.
anywhere and we have no idea if he can step into the job? Or would you rather have a guy who's been a coach for 3 years with an inherently dysfunctional organization, working for an
Damn.
inherently dysfunctional owner who doesn't even live in the city where his team is? He won 8 out of his last 9 games, despite all of the dysfunction and being stuck with this quarterback that the owner had to have, who isn't very good, swept Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and had a 4-2 record against New England, and has proven in 3 years that he's capable of being a head coach, where we don't know what Brian Daboll is going to be because he's never done the job. You phrase it that way, Flores is the no-brainer.
But Mike, let me ask you this: who is going to coach the
That
quarterback
nigga brain fighter.
that
You heard it?
drafted 6th overall 3 years ago, and you still have hope?
Brian Daboll,
Who's
maybe,
going to coach it?
according to one of the
What?
maybe Brian Daboll, according to one of the footnotes in the lawsuit, Daboll had it
Fuck.
with Sean McDermott and possibly could have been lured to the Giants in that capacity. Wouldn't that have been something?
That would have been something. Look, I think this comes down to a bunch of
Like he ain't shit,
perceptions.
but he ain't shit.
And
He's like Dumb
I
and
think
Dumber.
that's why I want to see this totally aired in the deposition
Mhm.
process in a court of law. That's why we need to see it this way so we can find out who exactly is telling the truth.
And Peter, welcome to the world that I used to inhabit, because in every single case I handled, there were issues like this. You had a list of all the different rabbit holes that you had to explore in order to do the job properly, because you never knew where that one little fact was going to be that caused everything to cascade in your favor. And you had to investigate everything and get to the bottom of everything. And there were constant he said, she said, he said, they said, we said, who said type disputes. Now, as to Belichick, what was alleged in the complaint is fairly straightforward. Belichick somehow knew. Belichick had inside information that Brian Daboll was getting the job. He intended to text Brian Daboll, congratulations. He had presumably an autofill malfunction where Brian Flores' name came up, and he texted it to him, and yada, yada, yada. Abbott and Costello routine at the end of the day. Belichick says, sorry, I messed up, but he didn't say the word messed. The Flores case, and this is another reason why I'm a firm believer in keeping your cards close to the vest until you
Belichick
have
was
to
on,
reveal
man.
them. Flores
He was on
revealed
that
something
Future
in
and that
a
baby.
conversation with Jay Williams on NPR's The Limits podcast. It's not just a claim that Bill Belichick had inside information. Let's listen to what Flores had to say.
I do think that there are back channel conversations,
Nigga
back channel
butt tweeting other
meetings,
motherfuckers
that are had
by the job
that
he's supposed to be going for.
oftentimes
That's fucked up.
influence decisions. And I think that's a clear example of that. Here's Bill Belichick. And, his resume speaks for itself. He has influence. I think to me that it was clear that that decision was made with his influence, and that's part of the problem. And that needs to change. There needs to be a fair and equal opportunity to interview and showcase, like I said before, showcase your abilities to lead and earn one of those positions.
You always
That's a
gotta
heck of
come
a
out the
check
pocket,
to
bro,
write
and tell
by
somebody
Brian
like,
Flores,
"Hey,
and the
bro, that's
facts will
enough,
determine
man.
whether
You
or not
doing
the
me
account
wrong."
has sufficient
What the
funds.
fuck?
That is a stunner. Although, look, there was chatter that Belichick nudged the Giants toward Joe Judge and away from Josh McDaniels a couple of years ago
Chatter?
because he wanted to keep McDaniels. Well, but and maybe that'll be part
There's
of
a
the
lot
discovery
more than
process
chatter.
too. Right. Now, in this case, it's different because neither of these guys currently are working for Belichick, but they both did. I could see that the Giants ownership, not Joe Shane, because he knows Daboll. He doesn't need Belichick's input on Daboll, but I could see ownership wanting to find out from Belichick, what about Daboll? What about Flores? And maybe even through the process of providing his input. That may be how he found out. Regardless of whether he influenced the decision, maybe he became aware after communicating with John Mara and or Steve Tisch that they're leaning Daboll, they're going Daboll. These are all things, though. But listen, I think it's safe to say Brian Flores won't be working for Bill Belichick again anytime in the future. Belichick is going to get grilled like he has never been grilled before, Peter.
Mike, I want to ask you one question about the soundbite we just heard from Flores. When he refers to back channel, I mean, I wish that had been more well defined. And if I were asking the question,
Wow, so
I
that
would
takes
have
and
said,
snapshot the fuck
do you
out of it.
believe that Bill Belichick and John Mara had a conversation before he sent you those texts?
Oh Lord, check him
That
out.
is what the question is. You know, because to me, and I don't know this, it sounds like that's what Brian Flores is saying right there. And so that's what I would wonder about this whole story. You know, does Brian Flores think that Bill Belichick was talking to John Mara about this job, like the way he might have been talking to John Mara in 2020
Man,
about
fuck
Joe
you white
Judge?
boys, bro. You don't have, you can
So
cut this shit
those
off,
are
yeah,
the
bro.
questions that I think
Those
those
I want to
need
talk
a
about
public
this shit.
hearing.
And here's how it'll work. Let me make it as simple as I can. And Peter, this is a compliment, not an insult. You would have been a very good lawyer.
Man, welcome, welcome, people, to the motherfucking Blunt Talk. I am your host, Silent Child 17. And we got P. Dot in the building, I'm assuming.
Top
P. Dot,
tracks.
you there? Chop track? Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? And we about to do this for y'all once again, man. Y'all know how we coming. And man, I know it was a lot for y'all prior to swallow on that one. But I won't get straight to my dogs on this one. So audience, y'all gotta excuse me.
You gotta make sure Paul, because he can hear Paul.
Paul, you good, huh? Nah, he probably gotta see if I don't know, he ain't saying he probably can't hear. You good, player?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, let me see, y'all. Hold up, hold on. Let me see. We could get. Can you drop him yourself and invite him back?
Yeah. I
Cause
can mute him. I
that
gotta bring him up.
might be easier if you could just accept it. I'm gonna see if I can get in contact with him. Give me a minute, y'all. But yeah, this is another episode of Blunt Talk. As y'all can see, we still in development stages. As you can see, trying to get this shit popping, y'all. But you know, we always gonna have that information, and we always gonna bring y'all some fire shit, basically, because we definitely gotta talk about some of this shit. If you didn't know, if you did know, you know what I'm saying, you still get a good perspective of all the situations. You know what I'm saying? Hold on.
All right, there you go. You can hear Pete out?
Mic check, mic check.
All right. Oh, Lord. Yeah, Pete out shit tripping. Now it's not letting me pull both of y'all up.
Oh, okay. You can hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I was saying, just give me your point of view on it while we wait on P Dot to come
Mic
in.
check.
Just give me your point of view on it
I
with that.
think that basically with both of the leagues, I feel like they time's coming to an end. Like a lot of that shit coming to a head, especially with that coaching shit or that owning shit or any one of them. It's a monopoly sports anyways. Like, all that shit rigged. It's just
Even right, because you got to think about him too. He's actually right. Because think about it, child. He's not just people trying to make it seem like he's just ratting on the league. That nigga ratting on himself too. He said he was getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to tank games, though. So who else is the owners paying off too? You see what I'm saying? And they did have a losing fucking season. So in that situation, knowing that you got that type of control, like how do you you clean some shit up like that? How you make that better? You get me?
yeah, I can hear you. They keep on beeping for Paul though. His internet slow ain't strong enough or
You
something.
you gotta get close to your unit, Paul. Oh, I told him. You gotta get close to your internet, man. Yeah, give us a little slow. Give us a yellow bus minute, people. Give us a helmet moment. Cause this shit crazy. Now Flores ain't talking nothing new. I don't know if y'all follow the Blunt Talk Nola Instagram, but I had just put a part 1 on uh the motherfucker who on the Wheel of Fortune. He used to be a goddamn journalist and a talk show host and used to bring people up. He done bought this man that they made a book where they was talking about how these people been doing this. Owners, all these owners gamble. So if an owner gamble, what does that mean? Think about it. That's saying a lot. That it might just sound like, that's just a sentence. No. An owner of a football team or basketball team, they gamble. So the control is in their hands. So don't you think these people can what? Shave points, fix games, sit people out, put them on a COVID list, all that type of shit. You see? And this is how these things be working right in front of your face, but really trying to say their own ass. Everything that man is saying is true. It's just now that it's coming fruition because he felt like he had enough evidence to come forth with something. Then they got another one, Chop 2, I want you to show with then Hugh Jackson from Cleveland Browns came out. You heard about that?
Mm-mm. Nah, I didn't.
Hugh Jackson. You could, while we're waiting on or seeing how we could get P Dot in there, we gonna get on that too, dog. Yeah. Old Hugh from Cleveland. Say the same thing, dog. Man, it been going down, man. And I'm waiting on the ignorant motherfucker to say, oh, all this shit coming up when a black person doing the halftime show. See, that's what you niggas, that's all you niggas gotta do. The entertainment, and that's a wrap. Fuck the truth coming up. You gotta wake up, man. This shit been going on, man. And if y'all do follow the Instagram page, yeah, I'm gonna put the part 2 and the part 3 on there, and just go from there. I'm gonna put the Flores and everybody else on there just to break that whole shell open. Because that gambling and that sports betting and all that, they pop that on us after they done put so many people in jail and all that shit behind that shit, even the numbers game and all that, man. And my dog put me on, man. Chop put me on that, man. If y'all never seen it, go watch Go for the Hole. Just go watch a little piece of it. And then when you watch that, go back and watch Hoodlum. And it'll tell you damn near both of them movies together to tell you exactly what the fuck happened. Or give you a bright ass sunshine idea about what the fuck happened. Cause that gambling shit been around, man. Been around. Look at that. Dan Snyder, the committee on his ass, child. Snyder has investigations on him for a bad working environment. Look, under his ownership. A bad working environment, huh? That shit crazy. You can hear me, Chuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. That shit crazy, bro.
Man, what the fuck? Why Peter keep on falling down?
He say he ain't got no audio on that thing, bro.
He probably would have did better on the ankle.
Who knows?
P Dot, you ain't saying nothing? Yeah, he might be better off on the ankle, son.
Yeah, you might have just cancel this one out.